Hey Soul Family, so today we're going to talk about a really important thing that's going on right now about the broadcast, the frequency broadcast system. So if you don't know too much about it, go and take a deep dive into YouTube and find out all the things that you can find out about it, because it is a thing that a lot of people are starting to feel. They're feeling the difficulty of life, and they're feeling the difficulty in connecting with spirit. They're experiencing more mental health challenges, and all of this ties into the frequency broadcast system. So the conspiracy theorists like me many years ago talked about these certain things that they put into our food, into different medicines and such, and that combination with the 5G towers is now increasing the broadcast. So what these things do is they were originally formed as weapons against other countries in war territories. However, now they're being used against us, and so it's important that we become aware of it and then fight back, okay? Because this is a spiritual war. The main battlefield is in our mind, and when we let our mind take in the thoughts, then that goes into our heart and into our body, and we begin to feel it, and we begin to emanate negative energies within our body. So it's important that we take the steps and have the tools to get in front of it, and then also to call it out when it's happening. So let's jump in. Okay, the first one is prayer and meditation. This is so important to just start your day off right, to call in the higher spiritual powers, call in your barrier of protection, okay? Whether you prefer intention settings, whether you prefer prayer or meditation, that's up to you, but a combination of all of them is a great thing to do as well. So calling in the spiritual and divine support to put a blanket and a covering over your body, over your mental sphere. So that's the first step, as well as taking that time to quiet your mind and to become the observer, to become aware of the incoming thoughts and the ones that are being generated by you. Because what we do is a lot of times we'll have a thought come in, and then we will generate more thoughts around it. So being aware of the ones that seem more intrusive, and this also gets really tricky, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the video. So prayer and meditation is the first step. Number 2, it is so important to decrease resistance by practicing acceptance. So when you start to feel that negative vibration coming into your body through your thought processes, right? The broadcast system is working with our thought processes. So it's very important that we don't let them take root and hook into us, okay? So how we can do that is to accept the things that are happening. When we accept things, we don't try to change it. We don't try to be angry at it. We don't try to run away from it. We're just accepting it, and therefore it dissolves it, right? Because what these frequency broadcasts want you to do is they want to hook you into it, and they want you to get angry and upset, and therefore it's going to shift your vibration into a negative state. So it's very important that we try to keep our minds set on acceptance and dissolving that negative synthetic vibration that's wanting to come in. So if you start to practice this, you will quickly see that it is very effective and very beneficial practice. So go ahead and give that a try this week. Okay. The next one is to do our shadow work, because when we stop running away, we start feeling stuff, we don't use alternate coping mechanisms, and we just sit with the emotions and let them be experienced and hopefully released, right? Through either crying, journaling, speaking with a loved one, or a some kind of compassionate witness, or whether we alchemize it through art or creation of some sort. These are all ways that we can start to work on our shadow work. The number one thing is we've got to stop running away from it. We have to start feeling it, because the more we repress, the more it's going to stay there, and it will keep getting bigger the more we push it down, and that eventually creates disease of all kinds, right? Dis-ease, a lack of ease, and it causes energetic distortions. And these energetic distortions can have a myriad of different symptoms. So it's very, very important that we start to feel and release so that we can heal and move forward. The other part of this too is that these synthetic frequency broadcasts are interfacing with our traumas, okay? So when we have those traumatic spots, our soul fragmentation allows gaps in our spirit and our aura and our energy field. So when that is not strong and coherent and full and embodied, then that's where those leaks of these frequency broadcasts can come in. So it's very important to do that inner work. And if that is something you'd like to work on together, go ahead and you can visit my website, www.akasharise.com, or my Calendly link is in my profile here on YouTube. So the next thing that we need to do is we're going to give statements of non-consent and ascension statements. So what that means is that we are consciously making the choice that we don't consent to this. So whenever we start to feel like there is an interference, even if we believe it is our own, we still need to call it out, and we ask it to be gone, that it is not, we don't give it consent to be in our space, whether that is from another person, whether that's from a synthetic broadcast, whether that's from our own self creating it. We are going to give it away so that it is not in our sphere. As well, we are going to replace these thoughts. If we feel like we're being attacked, if we feel like we're under spiritual warfare, we are going to declare that everything that these dark spirits are trying to do for us are only going to help us to clear. They're going to help us our ascension timelines, and they're going to speed up the process, and that everything that is meant for evil is going to be turned to good by the Holy Spirit and by God, because that is what God does. God has a plan for every purpose and every pain that we go through, if we can turn our will to the divine spiritual will and to be of service to others, right? The opportunities will present themselves to be useful with these fractals of darkness, right? The fractals of darkness can have and hold the most beautiful gems and jewels and crowns of victory and beautiful glory to God, our creator, for all the things that we go through. So very, very important that we replace these attacks with those positive thoughts. And the last one is when you feel the intrusive thoughts or the broadcasting type of thoughts interfacing with you, or you feel it coming in, that we immediately ask the angels to remove this, okay? Whatever your spiritual beliefs are, directly asking them to remove these thoughts and these feelings, okay? Because when we our thoughts and our words carry a vibration, and with these negative vibrations, it goes throughout our whole body. So this is exactly what the dark forces want. They want us to emanate negative energy. So it's very important that we ask for these thoughts to be removed, and the negative vibrations to be removed by the angels and whomever you choose. I personally like the angels to remove these, and you can also just use God, higher power, whatever it is you believe in. Ask them to directly remove it, and they will. They really will. The thing is most people just don't specifically do that, and they don't think to do that. So it's really important that when we're in this spiritual warfare that we do use these tools, okay? So the way that I've learned a lot of this is because I have a very serious mental illness. I have borderline personality disorder, and I also have addiction. So what happens is my mental space has been a very high level war zone, and I've had to use a lot of tools and a lot of spirituality to face that stuff and to live a positive and thriving and happy life. That doesn't mean I'm perfect. It doesn't mean I don't struggle. It is a spiritual walk that is maintained on a regular basis, that we continually have to use the tools to continue to fight these battles. And especially when you are a starseed or a light worker, if you are someone that is going to threaten the movement towards higher consciousness and higher vibrational states, they will certainly come after you harder. So it's very important that we have these firm tools that become regular habits that we do. So one of the things, since I'm doing some open sharing, is it's interesting because my brother also has addiction, and he basically has meth-induced psychosis and schizophrenia. So, and for the longest amount of time, he always talked about the broadcasts, right? He was always talking about them broadcasting things to his mind. And if anyone has worked with people in this state, they can absolutely attest to it. It seems like there's a lot of intrusive thoughts coming in. So that's the first thing I wanted to share. The next thing is that this information is becoming a lot more common and well known in the awakened communities, that these technologies are being used on us. And with the Epstein files, like, we have found out that so many of the so-called conspiracies have been confirmed, and this is just another one of those that is being confirmed. So yeah, it's important that we use these tools and be aware of it, not to fear monger ourselves or anyone else, but to be equipped with the battle weapons that we need to fight these powers, right? So, because even though we are on the positive ascension timeline, we still are in the process. So the process is to get through to the other side and not let these things bring our vibration down. And as we all know, we're all human. We know that it's very easy to disturb us at times, right? Life is not easy. This three-dimensional, heavy, dense planet and all of the complicated things that go on in this world are not easy to deal with. So by no means think that you have to be perfect at all. This is a journey that we're all walking on together, and not a single one of us are perfect, but we are on the path to try to learn and get better and hone in our skills and do things differently, right? If we keep finding ourselves in reoccurring patterns, we try our best to make a different change, you know? And sometimes it takes time after time after time in the same pattern before we can start to see progress with it. But remind yourself that it's about progress, not being a perfect, I have to be a perfect Zen master all the time. That's not what it's about. We're all still human, right? Yes, we are working towards getting into consistent 5D vibrations, right? But the reality is that most of us are still on the path, and that's okay. We have beauty in where we're at, because this is the blossoming of the purpose that you have in this world, and it will become more and more apparent throughout your awakening and blossoming journey into what your purpose is. Okay, so I'm just gonna check my notes real quick. Okay, yeah, the last thing I was going to say is that, okay, so it's so crazy because it's now coming out on a lot of podcasts that they are using the ear pods for basically reading our brain waves, and also to send out different synthetic frequency broadcasts through these ear pods. Now, the reason I bring that up is because back in, I believe, 2022, I was at the gym one day and I got this download from Spirit that they were studying our brainwaves through the AirPods. And this is before I've heard anyone talk about this at all. And it's been years. I've told a few people, but I mostly just kept it to myself because I didn't have any platform to share it on. But it's so awesome to me to just get the confirmation that that message that I heard is being confirmed. Like, what, 4 years later, they're finally confirming this by various different podcasters and different evidence. So yeah, and then that's also in play with the AI, unfortunately. But remember, we're not gonna plug into the fear matrix. Remember, everything that they are doing is going to speed up our ascension timeline. So this is good, right? Because they're being exposed. Their world is going to crumble. A few days ago, I had this vision of the earth just going to everything was crumbling. It was burning away. Like, these etheric layers were being stripped of everything, and it was basically just like this old desolate world, like basically what you would see in like an apocalyptical movie, like after everything was done. That was like the aftermath. So to me, what that signified was that, you know, it's not going to be that much longer before that old world is going to crumble and the new world is here. And with the disclosure of the higher dimensional beings that are all around our planet, aka ETs or UAPs or UFOs, whatever they want to call it, they have been here for a long time, but there's a lot of them coming in. So this is really exciting because they have so much higher wisdom and higher consciousness, and they're connected to the galaxies, intergalactic, and so much more that I have no idea about, and none of us really do. So it's like an infinite puzzle and infinite maze that is this existence that we're a part of. So yeah, okay, so just remember, always remember, everything they're doing to us is going to speed up the ascension process, that all of this will be revealed. All of it is being revealed, and we are calling it out. And so whenever you start to worry, whenever you start to fret, just remember, God has a plan. Spirit is working on it. The higher dimensional beings are working on it. You are not alone. Even when you feel so alone, you're never alone. And if you feel that way, sometimes that's part of what we go through in our journey, and it's okay to be there. That gives you the experience that you need to connect with people on such a deep level of understanding what that emptiness feels like. And that also gives you the opportunity to fill it with the embodiment of spirit. And that is one of the most beautiful experiences, to go from feeling absolutely alone and to feel like you do not feel spirit and you feel absolute void within your body and mind and heart and everything, to then slowly waken back up to the trickles of light coming back in to just blossom inside of you and give you life again. So I will finish this message like that. I hope you all have a blessed day, and let's get through all of this together, and we have positive golden age ahead of us. So let's keep that and envision that. Blessings.